Pete, there's a tendency for people to look upon Monday as a day of toil, of the weekend's over. We always kind of look forward to it, don't we?
Yeah, because you get to do this, but Mondays can be a little bit draggy sometimes.
Especially when out there today is about 90 and real thick and windy, and you get mud in your eye when you're driving along.
And you can, there's so much smog or whatever it is.
It's a smog day. It's definitely an ozone day. I should probably wear a hat. We had that.
You can barely see, the Benson Tower from where we are, but that's neither here or there. We were doing sports.
We were doing sports and talking sports.
Yeah, we really are. Quick roundup about baseball. It was one of those endings for Sherryland.
Unbelievable.
Do you think for those who don't know, Sherryland lost
in the third round.
10-9
on a balk call in an extra inning. And that's just an amazingly horrible way to
Do you think the umpire has a responsibility not really to do that?
What they say is this, the rule of thumb is let the kids or the men or the women decide the game on the field if at all possible. If somebody does something outrageous and it's obvious, then yes. I had heard that a couple of innings before the kid was not coming to a complete stop, but they didn't say anything about it. They were asked and they said it was okay. So bottom line is this, you don't want the refs to decide, or the umps to decide the game at that juncture. A lot of people are saying that it was a bad call. A lot of people are saying that the base runner that slid into Trace was way out of the base path in his attempt to break up the double play, which would have basically iced the game instead of tying run scored. Eagle Pass is not as good as Sherryland, so they're going to go to their graves being lucky to have won that game by however means they won it. I just feel so bad for Sherryland because I think that they definitely could have hung with United when they would have played next time.
I really believe so also, but it's just that's one of the reasons I really love a tournament because it's anybody's day.
They say some people are. I've heard a hue and cry on the internet about appealing it to the UIL. I don't know, guys. I do what you want, but I mean, it just kind of happened that way. You kind of have to stand by the calls that were made, even though you don't agree with them. Sure. That'd be my opinion. Of course, it's easy for me to say I had nothing invested. I just want to congratulate those kids because it was a great year. I wish they'd have gone further. I think they could have.
They could have gone further, and it really was a phenomenal year. They
gave up 10 runs. They had them 9-7 in the 7th. If you can't hold a lead like that against Eagle Pass, then I guess you don't move on. I mean, it's that simple. And, the more I thought about it, the more I was thinking this team might be, special in terms of going all the way to the Final Four. Like San Benito could if they win.
Yeah.
San Benito softball is on fire.
Unbelievable. They just keep going and they keep winning.
Their scores are amazing. 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 3-2. What does that tell you?
Defense.
Yeah, that's right. And making the plays. A squeeze bunt for the win. Woo, Cajonewe. That was great. You got to be kidding.
Yeah, man.
They beat O'Connor.
You call that, man, and that's how it goes down, man. That's what makes you legendary.
They beat O'Connor on a squeeze bunt in the last inning. It was an amazing thing. And now they got Smithson Valley, Smithson Valley scored 29 runs the first 2 games of the playoffs. They ain't scored but about 9 since. They ain't given up but 6 in 4 games, so they're a good ball club. If you just keep it low scoring and execute and make the plays again, it can happen.
Yeah,
I like being the state Final Four.
Yeah, I like the neutral site in Laredo, which is going to be good for them. Yeah.
I like it for us, man. Hey, I think we're probably going to be more comfortable in Laredo than Smithson Valley.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe I'm making some assumptions, but I feel like that's a good lick. I agree with you. So Friday night, man, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And Hidalgo and baseball still alive. We haven't talked about them all year.
LaGrange.
When you start playing teams that no one's ever heard of, then that's a problem. That means they're pretty good. But the only reason I heard LaGrange is because ZZ Top. I knew you were going to work that in before too long. It's perfect. Yeah. Those other older people out there will understand.
Yeah. But maybe someone who don't even have the internet.
This is so. You never know. Is there anyone out there like that that's not in like Mongolia? They probably have it too, man.
I don't know, man.
Hitting on a rock doing the iPad.
But yeah, it's definitely coming down to an end. The spring seasons.
I didn't think Sierra Leone would go out like that.
I really didn't.
I really didn't. One game, man. And if they'd have gotten beat like that in game 1, then they could have come back in game 2 and done it.
I think there has to be either one game thing all the way through, or
more consistency.
Or series. Yeah. This whole flip thing, or
it's kind of fun. They gather in the cafe like in Hoosiers and flip the coin, But I mean, it ends up being we got what? Oh well.
Yeah, I personally would prefer, especially in baseball, you're going to keep the series going. You know what I mean?
Series are great. We played all 3-game series when I was in high school. I don't think there was a choice. I don't know. I didn't make the decisions. I was too busy trying to make the bus to get there on time. So, anywho, well, it's too bad. And those guys are going to live a long time, and they'll always remember that missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's poignant. That's poignant. It really is.
It is what it is, and let's move on to other pressing matters, which are
Football! Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, we lost it, but we got football! That's okay. We did a lot of football last week.
We did, and there was an all-star game. It ended in a scoreless tie.
Spoiler alert, we're going to have differing opinions on this. It's all right.
I don't know. Look, I just would have liked to have seen
some more action, running the ball, scoring points. Yeah.
Scoring points, man. I mean, I understand these kids. Some of them are going, to play the next level, and they need to stay healthy. But it's like the All-Star. It's like the Pro Bowl for the NFL.
Oh God, nothing could be as bad as the Pro Bowl, except maybe having bursitis.
And you know what? And like to this game's credit, it wasn't as bad. They hit each other and they hit each other.
And that's the reason why in the end I went away satisfied, because not only did I get to see 8 kids from town, a bunch from McAllen, Sierra, all over the valley. They did hit each other hard, and they did compete. I thought there was some great defense. Look, let me tell you why it was a scoreless tie. It wasn't complete ineptness on the part of the offense, although you could argue that. Adame and Isaiah Galvan from EHS and Josh Danette, 260, 280, 280 on the front line, and all quick, all going to play at the next level. Why wouldn't you think that they would stop people? That was a great defense.
With Gary Sharp right behind them.
Oh, and he was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sharp was unbelievable. Sharp was pushing people down and talking to people like a real game. He was playing, man. He was killing people.
This is a little side note. I do not know what Coach Adame was thinking not putting him in this first series.
Yeah.
It took him 2 series, and as soon as he came on in the second series, he had a tackle.
And he had another,
just like that.
And he had another, and then he would cracking people just not borderline illegal. I'm not saying that, but I mean he was just playing nasty, which he does every time.
He was playing football. I mean,
Klein had a bunch of tackles. That little kid from Sherry had like 6 tackles in the first 2 quarters. Man, he was everywhere.
That defense was really stout.
Absolutely, and the other defense was good too.
Apparently, because they held him. They held Javier Obregón.
Yes, they did. He completed some throws on the roll, but they were on him in a hurry, and they never stretched the field. Yeah. See, that takes time. If you got kids that have played together for 2 weeks, you're not going to stretch the field very likely, unless the other team's horrible. Both teams I think they were equally talented, and they just stopped each other trying to do the things that they had learned in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It ain't like you just get out there and let's throw the bomb. It doesn't work that way. I thought Isaias Martinez from Ed Couch was probably the most impressive player on the field. He ran with a guy about 30 or 40 yards downfield and didn't miss a stride, and knocked the pass away playing defense. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch.
Big crowd?
It was a big crowd, although the East was a little bit more into it than the West.
At the end, there was a brawl about 57 seconds left. I'll never forget it. Some big old kid came out without his helmet. Look, it was kind of fun. You don't like to see kids fight because it sends the wrong message. But it was over quick, and everybody was fired up. I think a lot of people were frustrated because they wanted to score more points.
They wanted to score.
Well, they almost did. They almost did on the last play of the game. You got to remember the play, like Stanford Cow.
Sherryland's kicker, though, man.
Dude, he boomed that 59-yarder. I was down by the goalpost. It almost hit me in the head. It had the distance 2 or 3 feet at most. I mean, he drilled it, and it was just wide left on a 59-yarder. Hull's got a leg, man. What did they used to call him?
I don't know, man.
The Hullinator or something.
He really kicked the ball.
He's good, though. Yeah, he's got a big leg. And then, of course, there were 4 missed field goals in the game. I felt like I was watching the game from the 50s or something, right? It was great. Ramon Enriquez from Edinburg High had the most beautiful punt of the night. Remember that rocket, that missile that went 50 yards out of bounds at the 9? That kid's got a leg, man.
I mean, it was all defense, special teams.
And they honored Jesse Longhofer at the half. If you don't know, he was the coach of the Harlingen Cardinals back in their glory days in the 70s and into the 80s. And then again, he became the AD, and then he came back. He was the one that coached the 89 team, which is probably, if I had to put my money down, I would say we've never had a better team in the Valley. I mean, we may have had some that were as good, but I don't think any better. They went 4 rounds. They beat LBJ 14-0, and they finally lost to Judson. And in a game that was on TV, and you might remember that if you're an old timer here in the Valley, because it was a neat thing, man. Everybody around the Valley was around their televisions watching Judson and Harlingen on TV live. It was one of the first times that's ever happened. Longhofer was a neat guy. He was a scary cat, though, man. Look, when he said jump, everybody asked how high and the way up. Let me tell you.
It was good. The whole atmosphere, everything, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun.
All our media buddies were out there.
Yeah, it was a fun night. You got to talk with the people you hadn't seen since the fall, and they were just.
Michael Salinas was out there. The first Bayless Sabercat. Jonathan Orta was on there.
You could see it in everybody's face, like, yeah, we're ready for August already. Come on.
Oh, totally. We're all, even though it was no points, we're like, oh, this is great. Where do we go next? Who's got spring training? And which brings us to the spring training of this week.
Exactly. We were at a spring game. We went to the Rose spring game. I'll tell you, one of the things I enjoyed about that was there was these, I'm sure freshmen or sophomore, they were like, oh, look at that coaching staff over there. Maybe it's like one of the junior highs checking it out or something.
No.
I was like, hey, buddy, You better believe that's PSJ over there seeing how you guys play, and Westlake East. And,
That's right.
And then Mac High.
Mac High Memorial was in the back. We were like, hey, wait a minute, we're surrounded by the enemy. It was great, man.
And that's what it is, man. You
You
gotta check them out.
Get your straw hats on, your clipboards, and go watch what they're doing now. And so Paul Reyes and them, I think what they did was pretty smart. They didn't show a lot of stuff. They didn't go deep. They didn't throw. They threw intermediate passes and short passes. But I thought the kid completed a lot of balls.
He did.
Justin Owen.
He did. And player to look out there is Edgar Bettis.
Yeah, man.
He's gonna make some plays.
Yeah, he does. He made a bunch of plays. Their defense, I think, is going to be better. That's one of the things that Coach stressed to us was that they may not be the point-a-minute group. Remember 50-43 last year. They're still going to be up-tempo. I think they may run the ball a little more, and I feel like their defense will be improved. I think they have a chance to make
He was saying instead of 50, we're going to get 30, which is still a great number.
That'll work.
If you get 30, I mean, come on, who are you kidding yourself? You know what I mean? That's 3 first downs.
So. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you can score 30, then you're fine. In most games. I think they're a surprise team last year. I think that nobody's going to be surprised by them this year. They're going to be gunning for them. Yeah. But I feel like they have a chance. I like the group that they had. And some guys injured. They had some big guys on the sideline.
Which was the O-line, and it's tough to... some of the snaps he was getting were kind of low, and what are you going to do about it? You have inexperience, I think it'll work out for them, though.
Mike Sines, not to be confused with the guy who used to work at the Pan American and has done work in the media, the 22, remember?
Yeah.
They like him, man. He can play quarterback, running back. He was in the slot. He can probably play defense. A medium-sized kid. He runs hard. He goes downhill. Expect that kid to make some noise in the fall season.
What about the utility player that he was talking about? Oh, the guy on crutches.
Well, Jesse Diaz was on crutches. He's a linebacker, and that guy's pretty tough. So, in other words, you didn't see the entire row complement. I feel like they'll be competitive. If they make the playoffs again, it wouldn't surprise me.
And you didn't see the way Rowe really plays.
Right, yeah, but it would be a little quicker.
Up speed and tempo. This was more like, let's get the defense ready, which is what I liked about it, because all the coaches looking were kind of like, well, okay, we can see what they're doing, but this isn't going to be the real way they play.
Right. I'll tell you what I was impressed with was that they caught the ball well. Justin made the throws, and they're pretty long outs and bubble screens and tunnels, and just turnarounds. I thought he made the throws well. They didn't drop much.
Yeah.
3 tall receivers. I think Jay Alonso is the guy number 2, and these are not the real numbers. These are the scrimmage numbers. I thought that guy, he caught the ball once, and the corner was right there, and he just went around fast. He got some wheels, man. That's going to be a pretty good ball.
Yeah, there you go.
And I saw North.
Nice.
I saw the Cougars, and I'll see them again on Thursday because they're having their spring finale. That team could be pretty good.
Yeah.
If things roll right for North, they got 4 linemen back, they got both receivers, they got both good running backs. On defense is a little more tricky, but they've got talent on defense. I feel like if they play their cards right and the quarterbacking situation shores up, then they can be 7-8 win team again, maybe more.
So how is the quarterback position going right now for them?
Well, they got this guy Alex Guerrero, who played some secondary last year. He played a little quarterback. He's number 17. It's his turn, man. It's his chance. And there's another kid, Martinez, that's coming up. Or no, Rodriguez, that's coming up. Martin Rodriguez. Kind of a big kid. He's stocky. He's got a good arm. Played JV last year. So they've got kind of a battle. I'm not trying to hype the conspiracy, but I mean.
But that's what goes on in practices.
Indeed. It's always a battle. You go out there and we used to go down there and peek and check the list. It's like, hey, how come Perkins is ahead of me? What happened? Day by day, things change.
You're applying for the job, man. That's what it is.
No doubt. I think both those kids can handle it. They'll probably give them a ton of playing time in the scrimmages and see who emerges. I think Alex, as the guy who has more experience, what Coach Garza told me is that Alex right now knows the system better. Obviously, he's taken snaps in the varsity game. The other kid hasn't. So, as far as I'm concerned, the best case would be, the senior gets to start if he's capable, and then the junior comes up and plays a little bit, and then he's to start as a senior. Who knows what will happen? But I'm impressed with the team. Like any team in town, or even in McAllen to an extent, there's not a lot of depth there.
Yeah.
More schools, thinning out the talent. So you may have a good starting 11. You may have 25 kids who can really play. But if you don't get that other 8 or 10 that can come in, then you're going to be in trouble. Every team will be in danger by injuries or grades of losing depth, and that would be depth. Death without depth. There we go, man. That should be a T-shirt for coaches. Death without depth. I like that. So who are we going to now this week?
We got Mac High, we got Memorial, and McAllen for sure.
I will make Memorial, I believe. Thursday is North. I think Friday is the Mustangs. I think they could be good too. I don't know.
It's going to be an all-out brawl in this district.
It's going to be even crazier than last year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get around it. There's just going to be. Everybody's going to lose.
I seen Spencer Gant over at the All-Star game, and he's got his 7-0 team ready. I mean, they got something to prove after last year. They started out number 1, then you make the playoffs. So they're going to be mad, and those fans want a winner, and so I wouldn't put it past them to have one.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much about Westlake yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
East should be tough.
Yeah.
I think East should be tough. They got some big linemen back. They got the good back, Saul Cuellar. I heard they're moving the kid that was in the secondary over to quarterback. Is it Darren Rivas, I think is his name? So they did lose their linebackers.
There you go.
They did lose their linebackers, and those are great ones. That Ace Ceballos,
Sure.
and then Fabian Villarreal. Those guys could have played at any 5A in town. I'm telling you, they could have played anywhere in the Valley, I guarantee you. So, okay. So as far as football goes, we're kind of winding up this next week. There will be the All-Star game in basketball on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard where yet, but somewhere that people can get to. I think the All-Star baseball and softball obviously are going to be in June because we still have teams playing, right?
Yeah, man.
Or at least in softball.
Which should give us, something to talk about.
Yeah, we will have something to Hey, we'll have summer leagues.
Yeah.
We'll have the Roadrunners, by the way. The Roadrunners and White Wings have started their training. They have a scrimmage tomorrow, Tuesday at 10 a.m. over at Edinburg Baseball Stadium. So you got to check out the new Roadrunners. It's going to be a different product this year.
You were telling me about it. Not too many Latinos on the team.
No, and not too many veterans. Because a lot of those guys are too high priced. See, the league has kind of pared its expenses a little bit. It's got a lower salary cap. Mainly ended up with a lot of good college kids that are trying to get up into the system, right? So it's going to be competitive. It's going to be good. It's a little different style, though. We're used to like the 32-year-old from the Dominican that had great stories to write about. They will have Julio Castro, the all-time leading save relief pitcher in Roadrunner history. He's got like 80 or 90 saves. He will be pitching only home games, and he's still got it. I've seen him walking around the high school games. He's about 30. He actually married a gal from here, had 2 kids, and he's a Valley native now. Julio Castro. I've always enjoyed that guy. Neat guy. A Dominican, I believe.
Right on. Maybe we can get out there.
Oh, I'll get out there. Believe me, I'll be the only sucker in the well taking pictures, sweating my butt off. One more note about baseball. Pan American tomorrow in the afternoon plays New York Institute of Technology in that Zeta in that Great Western tournament. If they win there, they have a 500 record. Then they're going to have to play either Houston Baptist or NJIT, which is New Jersey Institute. I'd like to see him end up with a winning record. Hey, you know what Brian Ramirez is in? 347.
That's a great number.
Yeah, man. He ain't really got a lot of hard knocks, but 347. He hits the ball and he runs it. And unless the website is wrong, God forbid, he hasn't made an error. So he's played flawless in the field. He's hit well. I think that guy has a future as an all-conference kid. He may get some newcomer votes. Who knows?
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Well, that's good. I'm wrapping up baseball. And hope they go well in that tournament.
Hey, if they can win 2 out of 3, they'll be 29 and 28, and that's good. Because if you're over 500, that means you won more than you lost. In a sense, technically, what more can you ask? Yeah. So. Well, I know.
You can ask for a lot more.
You can ask for 600 if you want, but you're never going to get it, right? That's like us asking for a brand new something here at the paper. It's not going to happen.
How about a nice studio or something?
Yeah, or a huge raise. Yeah, there is that.
I think we've got it all.
You know what my dad always said, don't ask people to pay you what you're worth. They may tell you they were thinking of letting you go. In other words, you don't want to find out that you ain't very valuable.
On that note, I think we're going to go then.
Yeah. So we're in the midst of creating the end of the show.
Yes.
We can actually use this footage if you want. I mean, it wouldn't make us look like too big of buffoons. Talking Sports is now officially, by the power vested in us as complete idiots, out.